Before I introduce our final speaker, I just wanted to let you know that this whole idea for Drone Diego, Anti-Drone Days of Action, was born in October when Medea Benjamin came to San Diego. And we've been working very, very hard ever since. But tomorrow is a very, very important day, and I wanted just to speak a moment about it. We will be meeting at the Centro Cultural de la Raza in Balboa Park, beginning at 9:30 in the morning. There will be a plenary from
activist who got his city in Charlottesville, Virginia, to be the first city to pass a resolution saying no to drones in our city. We have other examples, amazing examples, and I think we're going to get into them tomorrow, about states all over this country that are now in the process of passing legislation. Now, there is blowback from the industry that's pushing hard, but there are so many states that are discussing everything from moratoriums on the use of drones to the need to get police warrants for the use of drones, to bans on the use of drones. And they're coming from the left and the right and the middle and civil libertarians. I mean, there's one that just passed the House in Missouri this week that was put forth by right-wingers, and when you hear the reason for it, it's quite hysterical, but you know, we'll take our strange bedfellows wherever we can find them. And this is supposedly be somebody who is big in the agribusiness, like in the pockets of agribusiness, and they are worried that the EPA is going to use drones to fly over the big corporate farms and might see when they're doing something wrong. And so on behalf of agribusiness, he says, I'll be damned if we're going to have drones in our state. So the other thing that's happening is we're starting to hear new people from really the establishment speaking out about drones. Just last week there were 31 foreign policy and experts and former diplomats who wrote a letter to President Obama talking about the drone program in Yemen, saying how counterproductive it was. You might have heard retired General Stanley McChrystal, who said, "What scares me," who knew that a general would be scared about anything? "What scares me about drone warfare is how they are perceived around the world. The resentment created by the American use of unmanned strikes is much greater than the average American appreciates. They are hated on a visceral level. They exacerbate the perception," of course he says it's only the perception, "of American arrogance." That we can fly where we want, when we want, shoot whoever we want, because we can. That was just a perception. General McChrystal. And what we see happening in the last couple of months is a shift in the polls. The polls, the last time I came here, I remember talking about how could it be that 83% of Americans agree that it's okay to use these drones? Well, now it's down to about 62% of Americans. That is a huge shift. It's still the majority, but it is not the vast majority as it was before. And we started having a little discussion earlier about this issue of the use of the word drones. Well, the use of the word drones is actually something that works to our benefit, and so much so that the drone lobby is now spending millions of dollars to try to change the perception about the use of drones. And it even had the nerve at a congressional hearing to tell Congress that they shouldn't even use the word drones. They should use unmanned aerial vehicles. And Senator Leahy, one of the good things he did was stop him and say, "Excuse me, I think we will call them what we want to call them, and they will be called drones." And the numbers are even lower when people are asked, what about drones in the hands of the CIA? Well, that is something that the government is starting to understand, and they are actually calling for a shift in policy to take the drones out of the hands of the CIA and put them into the hands of the military. Now, that is a step forward, but that is certainly not the only step forward that we need. We need to control these drones in the hands of the military as well. But the shift in policy is perceptible. Last couple of things I want to say is that that there will be a new campaign launched on April 22nd in London by the same groups that got a ban on landmines and cluster bombs, and that will be focused on the killer robots that won't even need a pilot in the loop, and they want these banned before they're even used. So look out, I think there will be a lot of good press when that is launched in London on April 22nd. The other very positive thing that happened most recently is that some of us went to the World Social Forum in Tunisia, and we had a workshop on drones that we thought would just be a kind of educational thing, but there were people from 15 different countries that showed up, and during the workshop they said, we want to create and we need to create a global anti-drones network. Let's start it right now. And this was part of a 32-person delegation that went to Pakistan on behalf of people of conscience in this country to let the people in Pakistan know that there were, as Toby said in front of the Congress, people who disagree with Dianne Feinstein, disagree with our government policy, and do think that their children are as precious as our children. And when we got to go around the country and we got to go as close as we could possibly get to the tribal areas, which was an area that Americans had not been to in 10 years, and when we got to talk to a sea of Pakistanis who had basically never seen Americans coming to their area, and got up on a stage and heard them saying in English, welcome, welcome, we want peace, we want peace. We were the citizen diplomats that our government needs to be. We were the people that our ambassador said, do not go up to that region, they want to kill you. We have credible, reliable sources that they want to kill you. We went anyway, and what we found is tremendous appreciation of the message that we were bringing. What we found is they said, if you came to win our hearts and minds, you won our hearts and minds. And you have done more for the positive image of Americans than the billions of dollars your government has been throwing into our country. And they said, what we understand so well here, that if the only thing that they see of Americans is Hellfire missiles being launched from Reaper and Predator drones, the only thing that will be reaped is hellfire. But if we go and we express love and compassion and respect and appreciation for them and their culture and their families, what we will get in return is love and compassion and mutual respect. And that's what we so need and we so want in the world, and that's where we're going with this struggle. Let's